Hi, everybody. We'll get started right at 10 o'clock. I'm just going to continue to admit people as they arrive. If you're trying to adjust your sound, don't worry about it. I've got everybody muted. So if you're trying to unmute and it won't, it's going to remain that way. And I'll explain why in a bit. But it looks like everybody's sound is good thus far. For those of you just coming in, don't worry about trying to adjust your sound. It's muted so we can kind of get through, and I'll explain. I am just still admitting people to make sure we're all in, and we'll start right at 10 o'clock. A few more people. Pretty good turnout. Looking good, right? Coyote showing up. Look at Coyote showing up. I love this place. A few more. They're still coming. Okay, we'll get started in a minute. Still admitting people, Good problems, good problems. Okay, it's 10 o'clock. I'll kind of keep my eye, keep my eye on the waiting room as we process this. Wow, they just keep coming. I'm Mr. Bolden. I'm your principal. Thank you for joining us for our parent orientation. I also like to direct your attention to Melanie Ruiz, our new assistant principal, who I have yet to formally announce and invite. Melanie, you want to say hi and wave? You did it.
Yeah, I wasn't sure you were going to let me speak. But I'm Melanie Ruiz. I'm your new assistant principal. I'm excited to be here. I'm coming to you from experience in Fontana and Yucaipa, and I've been an educator since 2000. So I feel good. I'm really glad to be here. I'm learning a lot, and the community here has been amazing. Everyone's been very welcoming, and I look forward to getting to know all of you this year.
Okay, fantastic. She has expertise in online learning and a lot of experience with it, which is amazing with these times. I think we're really blessed to have her a part of our family and our team. And it's been great, and it's going to continue to be great. I am still admitting people.
I wish I could co-host and take that for you. Soon, hopefully.
We're up to 60 or so. I'm
Yeah.
going to talk through these beginning slides as we go, okay? Here we go.
And just as a check, everyone can see the presentation? Yes? Okay, good.
Okay, so to ensure the completion of the agenda, you all are going to remain muted for the course of this, right? We'll take questions through the chat feature. So as I'm talking and as we're going over things, Ms. Ruiz is going to be monitoring the chat. So we're going to compile all of those questions to make sure that we can answer them. We're up to 70 people. So if we unmuted everybody, there's no way I'd be able to present all of the information that we feel is necessary for you guys to have. But we have dedicated a large portion of the time at the end to answer all of the questions that you all might have, okay? There, you can provide affirmations at the bottom. There's a reaction thing. You can click it on your screen and it'll kind of show like clapping or thumbs up. Exactly. Thank you, Seth Log. You can provide the reactions in that way. And this presentation is being recorded. And I'm sure you guys had that audio when you begun to state that it was being recorded. It's packed in here, and this is the 10 o'clock one. We are offering 2 more of these, but we want to provide access to this information for those that aren't going to be able to make any of the 3 times, and that's why it's being recorded. So we'll get this up on our webpage. Being completely honest, we're probably going to post the next one up because you all are our guinea pigs. This is the first one that we're doing, so we're going to work our way through it and make sure we've covered everything and do it to the best of our ability. Okay. I think we're good. Still admitting at some point I'm gonna have to stop, right? I don't want to let anybody out. Okay, here we go. So our agenda, and I can continue to do this. So our agenda today, we're gonna work through some parent guardian to-dos to make sure that you guys get these things done to ensure that our students are set up for success. Then we're gonna talk about what to expect, hence the title. Prior to August 10th, which is the first day of school, what to expect on August 10th, what to expect after August 10th, and then we're going to provide some advice and some recommendations to kind of set up distance learning at your home, and then we'll do the Q&A at the end, okay? But just because the Q&A is at the end, that doesn't mean you have to wait to ask your questions. As your questions pop up, just type them into the chat room. Ms. Ruiz is going to be monitoring that, okay? All righty. I think I'm going to lock this at this point. 73. Yeah, all righty. 2 more. It's hard to say no, right?
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna lock it. Locking meeting now. We got up to 74. I'm locking it. Okay. Now I can focus. Let's go. Okay. Have you confirmed your data, right? I've made calls and I've done that. So have you confirmed your data? If you have not, you're gonna log into the Aries parent portal and contact the office if you need assistance. The office is open from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We're even taking walk-ins if you need to. It's socially distanced. We require you wear a mask, but we can accomplish most things over the phone. So make sure that you've done your data confirmation. This is critical because all of our communication is happening via email or phone. So we need to make sure that everybody's up to date. You want to up to date your contact information. The phone calls that I've been sending out recently, because we're using a new system, anybody that's listed that the child lives with, right? And if parents have dual custody and they're both listed as lives with, you will be receiving my calls. If you're not receiving my calls, please contact the office so we can make those adjustments. We didn't want it to be every child on the emergency card because aunties and uncles don't need to get every phone call, but it is everybody that lives with. Same with the email communication. I'll be sending them out that way. Have you downloaded the CSD app? The app is called CSD 91730. That's our zip code. And you can find that in the App Store or in the Google Play. I've posted other things there. I will be doing more and more in there. During the time of our quarantine time, I was reading books to kids and I was posting the links in that area, and we'll continue to utilize that CSD app as a quick way to get information out. And then lastly, have you requested a district device for your child? I want to draw something to your attention because I see kids in the screens. If you've requested one device and you have that one device and you have more than one child, I would strongly suggest you request another one now, right? I don't care if Coyote asks for 3 times more devices than everybody else. I want to make sure that the kids are set up for success. And as we go through that, go ahead, Melanie.
There was a question I wanted to pause you on that one of the parents is saying they've been calling a different number than what you have on the screen. They've been calling 909-484-5301. So I just wanted to double check and verify that we have the right number, or if that was a number they could have. Say again?
This is the right number.
The one you're projecting is the correct number?
Yes, but now I'm a little nervous.
That's why I wanted to pause you real quick.
The district office moved. Can you mind like looking it up real fast?
Oh, true. That could have been the old number. I will check that. Okay.
We'll confirm, but I'm really certain, but now I'm feeling a little uncertain.
But in the event that because the parent's asking what should they do, I would call the new number, the number that you're projecting.
Correct.
Because they're still taking people on the list, right?
And parents are, we've received calls saying that, hey, I've called, but I haven't heard anything back. They're so swamped that they're putting the names down and including, but that doesn't mean stop calling, because we've requested a device in my household because I've got 3 boys, and we didn't get it confirmed, but I got an email because I work here, but they're putting them down in there, but that doesn't mean stop calling. Monday was the first day for pickup for Coyote. They're going to circle back through for phase 2, and they're going to get to some people Thursday, Friday, and then maybe as late as Monday of next week. Okay. What to expect prior to August 10th. Okay. Teacher communication and preparation. So welcome letter from your teacher is going to happen Friday evening. That's this Friday, August 7th. It's going to be an email, hence the importance of the data confirmation. We want to make sure we're sending that information to the proper place. We're also trying to wait as long to capture everybody. At last time I checked, we still had 200 families that hadn't done data confirmation. So we want to make sure that we don't miss anybody. In that welcome letter, they're going to include the Zoom link, similar to what you guys used to get on with me today. It'll be your teacher's Zoom link for your child to get on in that way. They're going to provide an overview for you, their philosophy, how class is going to kind of sound and kind of operate. Some of them are even including a schedule. I'll also be sharing a schedule later in this presentation. And then any additional information that they have for you. Preparation for the first day of school. Try the Zoom link. When you get it on Friday, you all are on. So I'm not too worried about you all because you're here now and you've done it once. But it's good to try it. Try it ahead of time, right? If you're going to be working on a different computer than what you're using now, try it before Monday morning at 8:25, right? Do it before that so you make sure you're good to go. Set an alarm clock. Try to set this up like it's the first day of school in any other sense. We don't necessarily want all of the kids rolling out of the bed at 8:24 to get over there. Make sure they brush their teeth too. Make sure they brush their teeth. Set out clothes ahead of time, right? Set out clothes, right? I'm certain over time we'll have kids in their pajamas doing school because that's one of the benefits of doing it. But let's see if we can get them excited, right? They're getting ready for school, right? Set the alarm, set the clothes out, and all of those, and et cetera, right? Really set that up. Whatever you've done in the past for first day of school, let's not lessen that now. We're still coming to school. We're still going to learn. We're still going to meet our new teacher. We're still going to meet our new classmates. We're going to do all of those things. So do all you can to set the stage for that. Another thing that I don't have down here is if you're on the device that your child is going to use, you can change the name. It's going to be really helpful for teachers to see the name of your child on that device, right? So I see some of them that say iPad, and I see some of them that may have a parent name or a child name. It's going to be confusing to teachers, and they're going to learn names faster than they ever would because every time they see a kid's face, they'll see their name as well. So make sure we're adjusting the name on there. If you're not sure how, there's 3 dots in there, and you can just hit rename, right? I could change my, oh, nope, can't. It's changing screens. Shouldn't have done it. I'm doing it.
Try it for you.
principal.
Yeah, so if you click the ellipses on your own picture, those 3 dots, the third option is rename, so that when your child is in the Zoom classroom with their teacher, if it's your account, you can just rename it to your child's name.
Thank you. I realize I have to switch screens every time I do this because what did I do? That just scared me. Okay. Next up, I clicked something crazy because now I got subtitles up. There we go. Live lessons with Zoom, okay? So you can use the Zoom website or the desktop. These are the 2 different icons. All of you are experts at this now because you've already logged in. You've done it here. So you're gonna do the same thing with your child. You'll either get a link or you can use a meeting ID, but there's 2 different formats and we wanna just expose you to both of those. You don't have to have a Zoom account. So you don't have to create one with Zoom. You can just click the link and kind of work from there. Click link the teacher provided to enter the meeting room. They're making it, we want to make this as easy as we can for you all. The first day of school is going to be a challenge, right? Just being honest, right? It's going to be a challenge. The teachers are aware. I want you to be aware. It's going to be a process. And I'm going to bring that up a couple of times throughout this to kind of say. Again, I mentioned making your child's name displayed. Make sure your microphone is muted when entering the room, right? I've put a feature on there where you can't unmute yourself. I'm not sure if teachers are going to do that. Teachers in the spring, when trying to Zoom with it, I remember a kinder class that had them all, and she was trying to talk, but all of the kids were talking at the same time. It gets wild, it gets crazy. So we're gonna need to kind of learn a bit of Zoom etiquette to make sure that the voices need to be heard. Yeah, you wanna add anything, Melanie?
I'm just responding to one of the questions in the chat.
Perfect, thank you for that. What to expect on August 10th. So now we've gotten to the first day. We've prepared for it. We've set clothes out. We've made sure that they brush their teeth, right? I'm going to keep saying brush your teeth. Now what to expect day of. This is important, right? It's one of my favorite quotes. It's from John Wooden, UCLA basketball coach, really successful. Be quick, but don't hurry. The first day of school, the first week of school, we're going to be establishing procedures and routines, right? It used to be new just for kindergartners to begin school or TK. This is going to be new for everybody. But at the same time, recognize that we are making history. This has never been done in our country, right? So we're a part of something. We can do 1 of 2 things. We can choose to look at it and go, woe is me, times are so bad, times are so tough, or we can look at it as an opportunity to really create something wonderful and to create something positive. And I choose to do the latter, right? And I'm asking and hoping that you all can do the same. Students, staff, parents, we're all gonna be frustrated. I've been times. Monday, I came home and I was through staff meeting. I'm overwhelmed, right? We all are. It's going to be tough, but we're gonna get through this and it's gonna be great. Again, these are unprecedented times, but you have unprecedented access. Never before have you been able to know exactly what's going on in your child's class, right? Now, don't abuse that, but understand that it's something there. Here's an example. I picked my kid up from school. I remember it was in kindergarten, or when I get home and I talk to them, you ask them how their day went. How'd your day go, right? And as they get older, the answers get shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter, right? Fine. And then I begin to say, what'd you learn today, right? Oh, math. And then you try to dig a little bit more. Now you have the ability to bring something up that they've covered and already gone over, right? To check with it, to understand it. Now I do not want parents sitting side by side with kids and saying, I didn't learn it like that when I was in 3rd grade, right? But take this opportunity to listen in, to watch, to gather. If you have the time, the ability, and the opportunity, you have the opportunity to get this information from them, use it to connect more, right? You use it to gain a better understanding of what they're learning, how they're processing, how they're doing. We haven't had this before, so let's use it to our benefits. And again, an opportunity for improvement. Education by no means has been perfect up until this point. This is an opportunity to improve upon the things that were working and to completely fix the things that weren't. And it's gonna take a collective to do it. I can't do it on my own. The teachers can't do it on their own. The students can't do it on their own. And parents can't do it on their own. But I think together we can really, really create something wonderful. The first slide we had here, we had our logo for us being a distinguished school. Before COVID really hit, we were in the running for a national blue ribbon school. That's a nationwide thing. And they just kind of stopped with that. So Coyote is already great. We're just trying to make it greater, right? We want to make it as best we can. Our children are our future. And I want us to take this, to capture this opportunity to improve. All right, I'm gonna get off my soapbox and I'm gonna continue with the information, okay? Schedule, right? So if you have a TK or a kinder student, here is the schedule. Now, this is tentative, right? Elementary teachers are accustomed to having a pretty flexible day. They always have a way that it's going to work and look at, right? But if we need a little bit more time with math, we're gonna take a little bit more time with math. But we felt it was important for you guys to get an overview of what the day would look like, right? Kinder, this goes from 8:30 to 1:50, but please understand that it's split. There's an AM group that goes from 8:30 to 10:50. And if you notice, lunch is in the middle from 10:50 to 11:30, right? That's what breaks up the day. If they're a PM TK or kinder, then they start at 11:30 and they go to 1:50. The district is offering lunch district-wide. Our campus will be providing lunch from 11 to 12:30. From 11 to 12:30, it'll be there. It'll be a little similar to how it was during break, but we're gonna need student access. If you show up, we'll get it. 11 to 12:30 for food services, okay? This is the TK Kinder slide, yes? Moving on, got one for everybody. First grade. Here's your schedule. This one goes from 8:25 to 2:25, but I want to draw your attention to the things that say student support. One says time and one doesn't say time. They're going to use this to work in small groups. So this does not mean that children are going to be on a Zoom from 8:25 to 2:25 straight, right? They're going to be breaking out and doing it. They will have something to work on and do the entire time, and it will be guided by their teachers. But we're not going to have 25 kids and a teacher just sitting there talking at each other. That's not how class works. That's not how learning works. So it will be broken up that way. So there'll be time that they give it, they'll work on it. So I wanted to draw your attention to the student support times as well. Okay, second grade. They all have similar components. They've used different verbiage. I didn't change the language that the grade levels gave me. What I want to draw your attention here is that the recess and the lunchtime is the same for all 1 through 4, right? So 1 through 4. Whole district, if you have kids at Musser, their lunchtime is the same. That 11:50 to 12:30 is the same for everybody district-wide. That's gonna be easier for families. If you need to come pick up, that's also easier at home for the kids to eat. So you don't have them taking breaks at a bunch of different times. Now the kinders are gonna be a little bit different. And if you've got a kinder at home, and I've got a little guy at home, he's the one that can derail everything, right? So trying to keep them engaged is important. But our break or recess is from 10 to 10:15, and lunch is gonna be from 11:50 to 12:30, okay? Moving on to third grade. Again, you'll notice that silent reading is on here, right? You're not gonna silently read with your teacher. So the teacher may keep the Zoom screen up, they may have it up there, but then they'll say, okay, well, I need you to grab your book and kind of read. And we're gonna work out a way to figure out how to get access to the library books. It's coming. I just haven't been able to work that one out at this point in time because we're trying to get all this other, trying to get this going, okay? Moving from third grade to fourth grade. Fourth graders, if your kid is transitioning from third to fourth graders, their day actually goes to 2:45. Their day is a little bit longer than the 1 through 3. Same thing, bell work. They typically use that after a break, and students are working, it's like a guided practice where students are given a task to kind of work on and teachers are checking in and maybe working with smaller groups. Zoom has the ability to do breakout rooms. Our teachers will be utilizing that feature where kids can work in smaller groups to kind of process and work through things, okay? And that's it for fourth grade. what to expect after August 10th, right? After August 10th. Back to school night. We're gonna have a back to school night. We moved it up a week. It's gonna be the first Wednesday of school, okay? That's gonna be Wednesday, August 12th. Those are the times, okay? We set those up for parents that have different kids. It staggers, so teachers aren't always, a grade level isn't always late, but we tried to break it up a little bit, figuring if you have multiple kids at our school, there's probably gonna be a year between the two of them. And maybe you've got a 2-3, but you still got enough time to kind of get there. So those are the times. This information will probably also be included in your teacher's welcome letter, but I'm giving that to you now. I'll put it on the app. This won't be the last time that you see it or hear about it, but you guys get it first because you came to the orientation. This will be a Zoom with the teacher directly. It will not be a recorded video. It will be the teacher. They'll have a presentation similar to this, and then they'll take a few questions afterwards, but they've got a half an hour and then they need to kind of go. There'll also be a video at the beginning to kind of introduce you to other staff members. Like I'll do a little part, Ms. Ruiz will do a part, our counselors will do a part, because our school is more than just the teacher. You'll interact with more than just the teacher, and we want to put a face to some of the names, okay? Material distribution. So Thursday, August 13th and Friday, August 14th, we're going to be distributing materials. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. We're the only school in our district that is waiting until the first week of school to do it. The other schools are doing it this week. But because we had so many that hadn't done data confirmation, because there were so many things up in the air, we really wanted to be solid with what we distribute. We really want to make sure we're giving you everything. This isn't going to be the only time that we're going to do it this year. But I don't have the bandwidth to do it once a week. Once a week. You're used to getting papers back and forth every day. We're gonna work out a system so we can provide supplies, we can provide textbooks, we can provide worksheets, we can provide different things to kind of work off of and work with. Our first one will be this Thursday. Next Thursday, August 13th. Kinder at 9 o'clock, first and second grade at 10 o'clock, third and fourth grade at 11 o'clock. I probably should put grades on there instead of just having numbers and slashes. And Friday will be open from 11 to 2, so 11 to 2. If you can't make any of these times, it's imperative that you let your child's teacher know at back to school night, so we can work out some accommodations. Right? We won't be doing anything before that time, but we'll work out some time because our plan is for 100% of our kids to have everything that they need in their hands as we start the second week of school. Okay? We good on the chat, Melanie?
Yes, I'm just answering questions as they pop up.
You're awesome. Physical education and music. We're still gonna have PE. We're still gonna have music. These are going to look differently though. Music instruction will begin August 20th. It'll begin August 20th. And that'll be Thursday for third and fourth grade and Friday for first and second grade. It's spread out over the course of the day, so your child's teacher will tell you the exact time that they're working on it. Our music teachers do a phenomenal job working with students, and distance learning is going to create challenges for them, just like it is for everybody else. PE instruction will begin August 25th, and that'll be Tuesday for all grades, and it's a rotating schedule. Now, full disclosure, Coyote is the largest elementary school in our district. Coyote is one of the larger elementary schools probably in the country. It's a big school, right? Well, California, but there's bigger ones, but it's a big school considering we're K-4. Our district has elementary PE teachers. However, the other elementaries in our district only have three classes per grade level. We've got 6. So for PE instruction, it's gonna rotate between a teacher physically there and a video that your child's teacher provides for them. Either way, they'll have it. So keeping in mind on the PE days, whatever designated space you have for them, making sure or ensuring that they've got enough space to kind of get up, stretch, and move around. So maybe on Tuesdays, they may be set up in a different place than what they would otherwise. Not the whole day, but for PE, okay? Advice and recommendations. Ms. Ruiz, you're doing a phenomenal job with the chat, and I'm afraid that I'm not gonna be able to do it to the level that you
I can stay with the chat if you would like to take
But
this
I can
part.
try. I'm willing to try.
No, I think I'm in the zone with the chat.
You're in the zone with the chat.
Yeah, I could pop up and say something additional on the slides if you need me to.
Okay.
But I think I'm handling the chat.
All right. I'm going to keep going. And if I miss something, you let me know. Okay.
All right. Absolutely.
All right. This is advice and recommendations. Okay. Create a dedicated workspace. Okay. The location should be quiet, monitored, motivational, and mobile, meaning it can kind of move, but trying to give them a space where they can work quietly, trying to give them a space where somebody has access to them. I recognize that some families aren't going to be able to commit time. Some of us have to work. Some of us have older siblings watching younger siblings. So these are trying to do all you can ahead of time to set your child up for success, right? Items will include a computer, printer, not necessary, but if you got one, great. Some people like physical paper, headset if possible, some kind of camera on there. So the device that they have, you need to be able to see and kind of work off of. Everything you guys have thus far is good. A phone, basic school supplies, the teacher schedule, motivational and inspirational posters, whatever you can to kind of help set them up to kind of feel positive, right? But the most important thing on this slide to me is quiet, monitored, and motivational, right? We want to try to keep them inspired and then have it set up. I really like this next one. Workspace organization. The workspace should be well organized with essential, easy to find materials. Identify and maintain a dedicated storage space. So stuff's not all over the place, right? But even if it's a pile, even if it's a stack of papers, having that set in the same spot all of the time. If the space is dual functioning space, such as a dining room, organize the supplies for easy setup and take down. When school's over, break it down, move it out of the way, and let that be the dining table so you guys can have some semblance of transition or a day. So break that down, but then also bring that back out when it's time for them to work for school. Planning and creating, mine is blocked off. Planning and creating the learning space. This is critical, and I feel like this is something that I would like to do at our house, is involve your students to allow for ownership of the school experience, right? Don't just say you're working here, right? Have a conversation with them about where to set up, how to set up, what do you think, right? Discuss preferred locations, I said that part, materials. Determine responsibilities for maintaining the space, right? I kid you not, their teachers make sure that they maintain. Kids that are junky as all get out at home do a better job at school a lot of the times, right? However, if not checked, their desk it's chaos. So to have a conversation with them about maintaining their workspace and that it's their responsibility to kind of keep it neat, even if they're in kindergarten. Online learning often results in more screen time and sitting. They're going to be sitting a lot. It's hard. I think I was so drained on Monday because I went from basically 8 o'clock to like 4:30 and just talking to people sitting down. And it is absolutely draining. So try to make it set up. The work surface and chairs should be appropriate size for your student. The work surface should be waist height with the ability to rest elbows on the desk or table. Now, that doesn't mean they have to work there. You have it set up. Some kids are going to want to move. They're going to want to lay down. They're going to want to do things. That is totally appropriate, but getting them a space that they'll feel comfortable working at and working with, that works out, right? We jokingly say, we don't want a bunch of kids with spinal issues because they've been sitting in kind of crazy setups while we're doing distance learning. The students should be able to place their feet flat on the floor, and the monitor screen should be about arm's length away, right? I'm probably too close to mine at this time. Again, suggestions. Again, most important part here, have a conversation with your child about where to set up, okay? What happened? Okay. Family plan for success. Oversee organization of the learning space and general supplies. Supervise lesson completion. Supervise attendance at the Zoom live lessons. Check for understanding of lesson objectives. This is not a requirement, right? I want to be really crystal clear. It's not like in spring, we're not asking you all to be the teacher. But if you're there, you're available, you're accessible, check in, right? And it may just be a little tap, like, hey, focus. It may just be, what are you supposed to be doing right now? Kid runs down and wants to come have a conversation with you about Pokemon, and you know that they're supposed to be in ELA, giving them that redirection, right? So review teacher feedback as teachers begin to send work back, and they'll get more into that next week. Have a conversation with them. Earlier, I mentioned having unprecedented access. utilizing that to engage in conversations with your children that you weren't able to do before. Communicate with teacher and school staff. They're accessible, right? The schedule says office hours. That's the time to kind of reach out. They're probably going to be working with kids in small group. They're probably going to be reteaching kids that may not have grasped the concept. But that is prime time to kind of reach out, to kind of say, hey, I've noticed this. What do you suggest? Or, hey, I've noticed this. How can we work on this together? Review expectations and rules with your student, and then provide encouragement, right? We want to keep it positive, right? There's going to be times that it's hard. You're going to find out that they probably told you that they didn't like a subject. My oldest doesn't like writing. He didn't love writing, right? But he's really good at it, right? So he needs encouragement to kind of feel about it. A lot of kids will say, I can't do math. That's not true. They can, but they're going to need that positive reinforcement to kind of say, to stick with it, right? It's also really, really helpful for us to share the things that we struggle with, right? Culturally, in some instances, that's not the case. When I was growing up, that's not something that people did to kind of say, hey, I wasn't good at this. We tried to kind of fake it until we make it, right? Kind of show that we were really good at everything all of the time. But it's helpful for our kids to hear and see our struggles and to see us overcome them, because then they'll get that as well. And that's one of the components that might have been missing had we, with us not being here, but you all have the potential to provide at home as well, okay? Man, I'm talking a lot. Sorry. I want to draw your eyes to suggested here. I'm gonna cough. More water. Suggested basic school supplies: pens, pencils, erasers, highlighters, note cards and sticky notes, file folders. If you don't have this stuff, if you can't get this stuff, let your teacher know. When we do distribution, I feel like it's our responsibility to make sure everybody has the stuff on this page. On this page. There's 2 more slides. Those things are other things. This is the stuff that they're gonna need. If they don't have this stuff, let us know, okay? If you can't get this stuff, let us know. We're here to help. Yeah. This is the other thing. These are nice to haves. Nice to haves. Not necessary, but nice. Not gonna read them all. I see people taking pictures. That's cool too. Little pause, little read. Good. Gave me a breath too. Took a little more water. Keep reading. A little more water.
Oh, Mr. Bolden, I wasn't sure. Are we sharing the PowerPoint at all at any point? I know you're recording it, but I don't know if we want it maybe to share. Maybe we can talk about that after.
Yeah,
so I know parents are taking notes and taking pictures.
Recording, they may just want this part. Yeah, we can do that. It'll probably be after Friday. We'll probably do it Friday. Maybe we can set it up.
Because there might be some adjustments, but because I could see putting that in the app, in the CSD app for Coyote Canyon.
Yeah.
And it'll probably come up shared as like a PDF, but at least they can flip through it and see the lists and things to keep in mind when they're setting up their learning space.
Yeah. It could come as a PDF. Yeah. We can set up as a PDF.
Yeah, I can work on that.
Okay. Probably not till Friday though.
Okay.
I mean, you can work on it, but I mean, we probably should. All right. Creative school supplies. Again, these are the creative ones: construction paper, sketch pads, glue sticks, old magazines, clear page. And this is more like during breaks and idle time, they're gonna say, this happens in classrooms. I finished the work. You can say, what are you supposed to be working on? We're supposed to be doing this, but I'm done, right? This will give you the opportunity to give them something to kind of work on that's creative, right? And to kind of have some fun with. So again, not required, just some other supplies. Yeah. We're almost done. Hi, Brianna. Hi. All right. That's it.
Okay. I do have some questions for you that I did reserve just for you, Mr. Bolden.
Just for me. Oh,
just for you. I wanted you to feel special.
All right, I'm gonna unshare this so I can see all my friends.
All right.
Share.
So you ready for your first question?
Sure.
All right, Candy wanted to know, she said that we've been having a lot of internet outages in this area lately for many hours. If this happens, do we just call the child in absent, or what is the procedure?
Well, this happened Sunday, right? Because I live locally as well, right? It happened Sunday and it was down. I think Spectrum said that it would be up by 6. Ours came up at 7. Some other people's didn't come up until 9. If the internet goes out in Rancho as a whole, I'm going to assume that none of our children can have access, right? Now, we do have families that live in Fontana. We've got families that live in Rialto. We got families that live in other places. But our primary population is our attendance area. So if the internet is down in our neighborhood, call the school and kind of say, because I am, and at some point I'm going to send something out saying, we know the internet's down. I'll check the app. That's the answer. It goes down, check the app. You can call, check the app. Once I hear it, we don't need 700 calls kind of saying that the internet is down, but at the same time, we're gonna do what we can. And I'm fearful that this may even happen the first day, right? Who knows how backed up and how ready Zoom is for what's about to hit. The good thing is we start school earlier than most people, so we'll get on. So the whole nation won't be on, but it is. So to answer your question, check the app to kind of see. You can contact the school or contact your child's teacher to kind of say, yeah, child's teacher first, and then check the app for updates, okay?
Okay. All right, then Monique had a question. She says her sons will be in speech with Miss Lochte. Should she wait to hear from her or their teacher?
Both.
So Miss Lochte will be reaching out as well?
Yes, the reason that our schedule is set up the way that it is, I felt like it was really important to ensure that students that were receiving additional services weren't missing out on really critical parts of the day's lesson. So if you notice those support times or silent reading times or things of that nature, occupational therapy, speech, all these other services are going to utilize this time to kind of do it. So Ms. Lochte will be reaching out. Ms. Lochte will be conducting speech via Zoom. She's still trying to determine whether or not she can still do small groups the way that she did. And we're kind of waiting to kind of figure that out. But those services should begin around the time that PE and speech do. We're going to get through this first week, and then we'll start doing things like that the week after. But expect to hear from her next week.
Okay. Then we have a question from Matthew. He says, because we are mobile, if the student is sick, should we continue to have them attend Zoom meetings or should we let them rest?
It depends, right? I am not a doctor. I did stay at a Holiday Inn last night, but I am not a doctor. You know your child, right? If they are bedridden and they're sleeping, they need to sleep, right? Just because they're home doesn't mean that they need to power through. But if they've got a little bit of a cough, right? This is one of the benefits of it. Like, okay. And I would say give it a try, right? Give it a try, especially if you're there. Let them come over there and get what they can get academic. And if you notice that they're not feeling too great, then let them go lay down. But I would say give it a shot. But if they're sick, then they should sleep and they should rest. I hope I'm answering the question. I'm not a doctor.
I was just answering a question here. There was, I guess someone wanted you to recap maybe how they're getting their teachers' information.
Yes. I saw somebody else responded in the chat. You're going to get an email on Friday, right? You're going to get an email from your teacher on Friday. So whatever email you have set up in Aries, hence the importance of data confirmation, you'll be receiving an email from your child's teacher on Friday saying, hi, this is who I am, welcome letter, and that will also include the link to log into Zoom Monday morning. 8:25, right? School starts officially at 8:30, but let's get on there at 8:25 to get in there.
Right, and that question just popped up about that.
When school start?
Zoom, well, based on the schedule, when are students supposed to log in? In this case, in particular, second graders, but 8:25 is when people are logging in?
Yeah, I would say by 8:25, right? I opened this, I think I opened up the room at like 8:40, and I noticed that there were already some of you guys in the waiting room, right? So I think having that same practice of kind of getting in there early and be waiting for it and be good to go is there, because sometimes technical things come up, right? The power on the device may be dying, something might want to update, so trying to get in there as early as possible to be set up for success is ideal. But school officially starts at 8:30. Teachers are looking for people at 8:25. Okay.
And then Marilyn had a question. So the Zoom meetings will be Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 11:50 a.m., almost 4 hours every day.
For kinder?
Doesn't specify.
All right, can you repeat that question one more time?
She says, so the Zoom meetings will be Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 11:50 a.m., almost 4 hours every day. I have a response to that.
Go ahead.
Because I know our teachers are required to do, what is it, at least the 4 hours of synchronous instruction. And that means live instruction. So I know there's been some confusion about the length of the school day. And as Mr. Bolden shared that, it is a full school day. Are they on Zoom the whole time? No. When you see the schedule that the teachers have put out, it's kind of a back and forth. Depending on the grade, they may keep that Zoom, well, the Zoom room is going to be open and available, accessible, once you're in there. But there'll be times where the teacher will put up a timer or something displaying that, now some independent time where they can go off and work, where the teacher might be having groups with students. So it's not going to be a 4-hour stretch of like solid instruction, live instruction that whole time. It really depends on the teacher's schedule. I don't know if that answers your question, Marilyn.
And I was
asking about 3rd grade in particular, it looks like. Yeah. Oh, no, Michelle was, I'm sorry. Oh, no, Marilyn was.
And I would say that the teachers of the younger students are probably a little bit more concerned of them having to log in and log out multiple times. So kind of keeping it open, but not always like we are right now, right? Okay. And so there'll be some back and forth. And I think as the students and the teachers get more and more comfortable with it, I think that'll evolve even more. But they should be working on school-related things from 8:25 to 2:25 or 2:45
for your 1st through 4th.
1st through 4th, with the direction of their teacher.
Right, and I can't remember if there was I know there was a question about TK getting supplies. I can't remember if I answered that. They are all the grades are getting materials. The teachers have provided lists for that. And then let's see, will on-site learning be back for the year of 2020, 2021, or will it be distance learning the whole year?
I can't answer that. I don't know. Yeah. It depends on where our country, where our state, where our county is.
Where our county's at.
I think that has a lot to do with it. I saw another one that pop up, like, will we get bit of a notice? I don't know. It kind of connects. It asked whether or not we would get a notice, or was it like, hey, coming back to school on Monday? It won't be that fast.
Not like that.
It absolutely won't be that fast. It's gonna take at least 2 weeks, right? If you're monitoring like numbers and beds and respirators and things of that nature, it's gonna take 2 weeks of something being pretty clear for things to begin to open up. And I think that would trigger the conversations, but it absolutely wouldn't trigger. We wouldn't by any means say, all right, ready to go on Monday. We'll identify it, we'll have conversations, and then we'll set a date, communicate that out, and that'll be some ways out, because it's gonna be a challenge for everybody to just kind of, this will be a big shift. So it won't be sudden by any means.
We have a question from Michelle. She's asking, what if we don't have our laptops yet?
If you don't have your laptops, I'm gonna say communicate with your teacher via your phone, right? Either message or call the school. Not now, but as of Monday, right? As of Monday, we've been receiving calls now. I haven't received a device from my student, and our office manager has a kindergartner here. She hasn't gotten hers yet either. But they're working tirelessly. I think initially they were thinking 600, and then it got to 1,000. It's probably going to be closer to 2,000 machines. And that's kind of the reason that the week is set up the way that it is. I don't want students or families to be penalized and miss and miss things for not having it. The textbooks are coming later. This first week, we're going to be working on how to get in, get off. We're going to talk about some, what's the word I'm looking for? What's it called?
We're talking about norms?
Yeah, but specifically for technology and using it. What's it called?
Oh, digital citizenship.
Digital citizenship. Thank you. It would have come to me sometime tomorrow. digital citizenship. So we'll be talking about etiquette, policies, procedures, and kind of set on how to get on and do things. Now, that's not to say that they're not going to be learning and doing some things, but we're also going to be conscious of it. And they're working as quickly as they can to get those devices out. What I can tell you is that no child will be punished or penalized for not having everything ready to go on Monday.
Okay, and then let's see. It looks like Sarah wanted to know for kindergarten, can we choose the time from late birds or early birds, or the teacher will choose that?
When people registered, I think they specified. If they didn't ask you, that meant one of the two were already full. Early birds normally goes first, right? So early birds normally fills up first. You can call the office. If you want to kind of clarify, but then that information will also be, oh, that should be included in the TK and kinder teachers' letters, right? They can't just send a letter. We've got to communicate which one. That's big. I didn't think of that. Well, thank you. Who asked that question?
Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah. Working on it.
Ahmed. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
And then it looks like there's a question, I'm not quite following it, about keeping contact with the teacher using Dojo or Blooms. There was a question like that earlier, and I had responded to it saying that you're going to have the teacher's email at the start, so that's probably going to be the best way to communicate with them. That letter, that email that the email you receive is their welcome letter, and it'll probably have some more information about what other apps they may use. I know there's another question about Remind, Class Dojo, Blooms, and I know we're not specifying any one communication app for our teachers, so that they have their preferences, and I'm sure the teacher will outline that for you in the welcome letter.
Yeah, my first stop, for those of you that know, like I started here like in December, like just it hasn't even been a year yet, right? And my first staff meeting with the staff, we had an activity where I had them kind of go in corners based on what app they use to communicate with families, to begin to kind of see and picture what that looks like, where I'm using Dojo in first grade, and now I'm using Remind in second grade, where I'm using something else in third grade. We're not at the point yet where we're all using the same thing. I hope to get us to that point. But I'm ditto everything Ms. Ruiz said as far as they'll communicate that with you. Look at it like first day of school, you wouldn't typically know what they were going to use to kind of communicate. Your child would come home with a lot of that information, and it's gonna move forward in a similar fashion.
And then on the devices again, I know Lisa had a question about when you can expect to get devices. I guess the answer to that is that there's no date yet at all, really, that they're.
Yeah, so if you were here's if you requested a device if you requested a device prior to July 28th, you were in phase 1, right? You were in phase 1. And you should have been communicated with to pick up Monday that just passed, right? If you were in phase 1 and you weren't, they'll probably, again, Coyote was Monday. The other schools within our district happen Tuesday and Wednesday. Thursday and Friday, they're gonna use to begin to start to distribute for phase 2, and then whoever didn't pick up from phase 1. So there are families that have requested and haven't picked them up yet. And that's kind of backlogging some things a little bit. So I don't want to tell you a date to say it's going to happen there, because I don't have any control over that. But they're working Thursday, Friday, and they're hoping to get them out there on Monday. But I'm going to be completely honest. If I was a betting man, I don't think everybody that's requested one is going to. And if you get off of this call, or you did it during this time and said, hey, I need one now, it probably won't be here before school starts on Monday. And then there's going to be families on Monday to go, wait, I needed a device, and then we're going to get more. So we're gonna have some challenges throughout the course of the week. But they're working hard. They're working really, really hard.
And I think your advice, Mr. Bolden, about using a tablet or a phone in the meantime. And I had responded to a question.
Yeah.
Someone had asked if Chromebooks were recommended, and my response had been that there wasn't any one type of device we're recommending, but I know we are encouraging that they have some sort of laptop. It would be best, but a phone or a tablet will at least keep you in contact. So if you need to use one of those devices, I would encourage it, especially if you are waiting for a district device.
Yeah, and I think what you just said is, and I don't think I was really explicit with that. If you are planning to have your child do class with a phone or with your phone, please request a device. It is going to be too hard. It's going to be too challenging
Right.
for them to do it. However, if that device isn't here yet, using that phone until it gets here is adequate, right?
Yeah, phone or a tablet will get the job done. I would say use it in a pinch if you had to,
Yeah.
but you know, I would not, like Mr. Bolden said, I would not make a phone or a tablet the long-term device.
Yeah.
There's another question here, and I don't think we touched on this. Ashley's asking, if schools are approved for on-site teaching, will parents have the option to continue distance learning if not comfortable sending their child back to school?
So I think the survey that we sent out over the summer had provided a couple of options. I'm gonna say yes. I mean, I think we're gonna. I'm gonna speak on. Man, I shouldn't. You should never speak on behalf of your boss. But I feel as if she was standing right next to me. She'd nod her head and agree with this. What we really don't want to do, the worst case scenario for us, is to open school back up, and then have to go back distance. Right? We don't want to do that. We don't want to do double dutch. We don't want to go back and forth. So that frame of mind, we don't plan on coming back until we can really come back and stay, right? Now we're probably going to come back with blended first to kind of slowly transition into it to keep social distancing there. So that's our hope and our plan. With that being said, I believe that the option will be available to stay distance if that comes. I can't clearly say yes, and I can't clearly say no to that at this time because things are ever changing and constantly evolving. But safety is paramount in this. We want to make sure kids are engaged. We want to make sure kids are learning, but none of that can happen if we're not healthy and we're not safe. So we want to do that first. I think I answered it by not really answering it, right?
I think you answered it.
Right.
Teresa had asked about Remind, and we kind of spoke on that already. Just as a recap, of some teachers may choose to use Remind, but others may use other things like Class Dojo or Blooms or something of that nature. Monique is asking about report cards and how that will work.
That's a good question. Report cards and attendance it's gonna be kind of, it's gonna work. It's gonna happen. They're gonna use a program called Seesaw, and we didn't really want to get super technical as we dove in here. But Seesaw is going to be basically the way. Look at it like the way you pass out and collect papers. I oversimplified it. I terribly oversimplified it, and I sold it short. But that's how work can be disseminated and work can be turned back in. I think I saw one pop up about, are we going to print homework and do things of that nature? You shouldn't be required to print anything. If you shouldn't be. Now we're going to distribute packets or some things that they need to work on, but teachers are also going to set students up where they can work on it on their device. Want to add anything to that, Ms. Ruiz?
You know, the only thing I would add to that is that I've heard Seesaw described as a digital portfolio. And I thought that that was a really good way to look at it because that's where your child is going to be submitting a portion of their work, depending on, you know, how the teacher's working things out. So I think that's a good way to think about what that program is. Like Mr. Bolden said, we weren't trying to get into the technicalities of things. I know it came up also, one of the parents was asking what applications will be used. And my simple response to that was, you're gonna need Clever to log in. And again, your teachers will go over this in their letters. So I don't wanna launch into a technical sort of conversation, but I'm just saying you should look for them to talk to you about Clever. They may talk to you about Zoom, and they should be talking to you about Seesaw. Those three as a minimum. If there's anything beyond that, that's between you and the teacher as far as what other applications they might be using, because I know through Clever they have access to quite a few applications to use. But at this point, I'm hoping they go slow and just go with those three: Clever, Zoom, and Seesaw, and that's it for now.
And to circle back to the original question, grades will take place. It'll be set up the same way that it was prior. Students will be receiving grades, either points or grade system, depending on what grade level it is. But they are responsible, the teachers are responsible to give grades, and students are going to earn them.
Mm-hmm. Brianna has a question that was kind of in a similar vein as the staying home, you know, when we come back kind of question. She says she's asking, if we attempt this distance learning and my kinder kid just doesn't sit in front of the laptop for 2 hours, well, can we switch to the homeschool option?
You can try. I think they closed the homeschool out. I think it got capped at a number.
That does sound familiar, right?
Yeah, I think it did get capped, but please know that your kinder, that's not going to be unique to your kinder child. I think they're really conscious of it. I think the kinder teachers are going to be really thoughtful in how they go about doing things. The day is shorter. They're not expecting kids to sit there for 2 hours straight. They're going to keep it engaging. They've got PE throughout. They're going to put videos on. They're going to try to keep it fun. They want to do things. We don't want to rob them of their kindergarten experience, but not expecting them to have to just sit in front of a screen for 2 hours. And that same thing applies with 1 through 4. They have the capacity to sit longer, but they're really being thoughtful about it. And the questions that they've asked have been fantastic, and they're clearly thinking of your kids as they plan these things.
And I know, as I've sat in the trainings, because our teachers are going through a lot of training this week, that keeping teachers being mindful of how long a child can sit in front of in front of the computer has been brought up to them, especially as far as different ages and what their capacity is for doing that. But even without being told, teachers know. Our teachers know how long students can take a period of instruction. So I know they're gonna break it up so that a student is not having to sit there for long periods of time. Another question, it was about using the iPad. If we connect the iPad to our big TV for a bigger screen, yeah. For those who don't have a laptop, yeah. Again, you can absolutely use the iPad. I know that sometimes there are limitations. So, you might run into some limitations with the tablet. But like I said, you can absolutely do that. But I would still caution about using it long term. But that's your decision. And if you hit any kind of limitations, then you might want to consider switching over to a laptop.
Yeah, and I think it's good, especially for temporary wise. I would advise to request a device. It's not just about size. As far as what you can see, the iPad interacts more like a phone than it would
Right.
A laptop, and that's more reason.
And Abby asked a question: is there a program to help children to enhance the learning from Coyote Canyon, and do we get homework from school or print out at home?
Program to enhance. I think if I'm interpreting that correctly, I would say that would be Seesaw.
Yeah, that's what I think so too.
So yes, there's a program for that. And there won't be a requirement to print out any homework or a need. If they needed to work with something, again, I don't think it would be a problem, but it won't be a requirement. If we were to require printing out, we would be providing printers to everybody that needed one, right? And so we're not going in that direction.
Okay. Then we have a question from Melendez. I don't know if it's Mr. or Mrs. If teacher's having technical issues on her end or needs to be out for the day, will we get a sub or a message prior or during?
Subs terrify me. Being honest, we have a plan in place. We're working out a plan for subs. Now, technical issues can be a little bit different. The teachers are sharing all of their Zoom information with us. So Ms. Ruiz and I will be popping in the classrooms like we would on a typical school day. So that also means that we or others are available to jump into the same place where kids are to kind of engage them in that manner if such a reason should arise. So there's an ability, so kids won't have to go somewhere else or log in differently to see a sub or to see something else. I think that's the best way I can answer that question. We do have a plan for subs. Kids will log in the same way. So you won't need to necessarily know ahead of time that there's going to be a sub because nothing's going to change in regards to how they get on in the morning.
Okay. Cheryl has a question for her kindergartner. If he lives with 2 different households, should each parent pick up a separate packet of material, or would it be possible to share the packet of material? I'm assuming she means the materials that we're going to be distributing, the textbooks or anything like that.
I think we'll get a flow going, and I think it depends if he lives in two different households. If it's one of those Monday here, Tuesday there, Wednesday here, typically it's more of a few days and then a few days. I think the critical things kind of taken back and forth. I'm going to use Kinder for example. We're going to send home whiteboards for them, right? They'll be double-sided and they're going to have lines. It'd be advisable when he transitions from the two different households to take that whiteboard with him. So we can split some of the items with some of the things that we're probably going to need to keep physically on his or her person to make sure that they have everything that everybody else is going to have when class starts.
And I think this also speaks to the slides where we were talking about their learning space and having it be mobile. So if you have, their learning space and all the materials they need for it, and then it's something that can be packed up, then, as a child in a split household situation can bring things from one household to the other easily, to have that sort of system already built. So how are we going to move these things in the event that we cannot provide double? Because I'm not really sure about that yet.
The Kinder question, one just popped up, and I didn't answer it well earlier because I was like, "Ooh, I hadn't thought of that," but I've processed a solution. I'm going to make sure that this happens. I'm going to have the Kinder teachers send out 2 different emails. They'll send one out to the morning bunch and then one out to the PM bunch with the same information. So at that time, you can differentiate between, so you know what time slot is in there. And I'll make sure that their letter includes what time your kid's supposed to get on there. It won't be on the physical letter because they're going to use the same letter for both classes, but in the email, it'll tell you what time your kid should report for transitional kindergarten and kindergarten. Thank you guys for bringing that up. Again, I told you we can do this better together, right? And you guys, thank you. Didn't think of that.
Teresa has a question. She says, she's asking if they'll be doing handwriting and if they'll be submitting work to teachers. And I'm assuming she means like physical work, like turning in physical work.
Yeah, so work submission isn't going to happen in the hand-to-hand exchange. We're not going to be taking anything back, but they will be turning some things on Seesaw. Now, handwriting is one of those ones that's going to be challenging to do and to kind of work through. I think that's why the Kinders wanted the whiteboards. There's going to be a lot of holding up and kind of working from there, because trying to write on a tablet or trying to write on a computer, we're not quite there yet. So that their tablets are getting much better about it.
Right. But the issue is we're not providing stylists for the kids, so that's the problem.
Yep.
But also with handwriting, I could definitely see a teacher taking handwriting submissions through Seesaw as something that you photograph. If you've had the child do the written work, you photograph it and submit it to Seesaw. And that's how the teacher would get that.
Good answer.
Let's see.
So we can so anybody hanging out, we're going to continue to answer questions, and hopefully we can exhaust all of them, but our time is up. So if anybody's waiting for me to say bye to see if there's any more information, it's not, but I also realize that people are hanging out to see if there's any questions that they had. And I had one more slide that just basically said, thank you. I'm not going to I'm going to reshare my screen.
You're going to reshare to say thank you. We've already had people dropping out, so I think they kind of picked up on that.
Share just to say thank you. Okay. Now we'll still take, but you can hang out to kind of answer. Look, I said, okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, did you answer the question from Abby? She says, with kindergarten, what are the subjects that will be covered for the 2 hours of live learning?
Primarily language arts and math. Primarily, right? They're gonna touch on, but I'll go back.
Yeah, because you had put the schedule. You had shown the schedule for kinder.
Yeah.
So we can put that back up. Then you answered the question about which time slot. And Nicole is asking, her kinder has a 2-year-old sister. Any tips on how to keep the little one occupied? LOL.
Turn a 2-year-old into a nocturnal baby, right? Wake the baby up, hang out at night, right? No, I don't know. I don't have any advice to do it. I know we realize distance, and my wife can attest to this. The little guy, and he's 4, not 2. Good. I don't know. No, I don't have advice.
Yeah. And I think that's it. I think there's some thank yous, and I don't see any other questions. If we missed your question, please type it again. Sensory bins, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a good suggestion. But yeah, that's all the questions. And Like I said earlier, I will work on making this presentation accessible through the CSD app when Mr. Bolden says it's good to go.
Right. I don't
But
want to
it'll
give
be
the
there for you.
I don't want to give the Thursday people the reason not to show up. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna wait till Friday. That's the only reason.
All right, let's see.
If you have friends that have students that attend and you felt as if this was meaningful and beneficial, please let them know. We're doing the next one tomorrow at 7 p.m. We're doing the next one tomorrow at 7 p.m. So if you know people that parents of children in Coyote, and you felt that this was helpful for you, please let them know. Okay. Thank you so much for your time. We genuinely appreciate you all showing up. Thank you for the thoughtful questions. Like I said, we're gonna get through this together. Okay, it's gonna be a great year. I mean, it's not gonna be like all right year. It's gonna be a great year. Thank you.
And Marilyn's pointing out that the app didn't have the info to log in during this time, like the ID and passcode. I'm assuming she means what you posted on through the CSD app.
So in the app, there's a live feed and then there's a news feed. So under the news feed, it had the information. The live feed operates where I only can put so many characters, and the link itself takes up so much space that I couldn't put it there. So in the news feed, the information to log in was there.
So if you're new to the app, make sure that you hit the little building on the upper right side so that you're looking at Coyote Canyon and not the district as a whole. And then you'll get the Coyote Canyon specific information. And what he just described, I went through and looked, and the link was there on the news feed. And then Brittany's saying the Zoom links are on the Coyote website as well.
We put them in a bunch of different places.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, and then Jing Ho, I'm sure Mr. Bolden will reply to your email.
Okay.
So yeah, looks like it. Thank you, everyone.
You guys waiting for me to kick you out? Okay.
Yeah, you're gonna have to shut it down. Bye.
You have a hand question or is it a wave? No? Okay.
Who, me? No.
Somebody else. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Annie? Okay, I'm clicking up. I'm closing it.